Being bald's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
And so is watching the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Everything is Sauce podcast, a quest to discover the secret sauce behind success in the social media age. With me is a man who needs no introduction, but because you don't know him, I'm going to introduce him anyways. He's a good friend of mine, a fellow YouTube creator, and between the two of us, we may have the ugliest first episode of a podcast in history. Thomas Hampton, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Thomas Hampton. I've been interested in social media for a long time. I'd say from a young age. I was very into YouTube. I think given our age, we probably were what I like to call in the Temple Run era.
Oh, yeah.
Like iPod Touches come out. We're now on smart devices, but not yet at that time smartphones. And so we're probably still using slide phones, but an iPod Touch with the old school like brown YouTube logo, like a little TV. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But that I think defines like our social media age.
Yes.
Especially as it pertains to YouTube and long form content, short form content.
It is funny how, when we were, I guess this ages us some, but when I was like a teenager, I remember like going home and getting on YouTube on my computer because that was like the only place you could find it.
Yes.
It was kind of I remember like first smartphone, I was like, whoa, I don't have to
It's a completely different game, which honestly, like you get there and you realize as a parent, that has to be scary.
Horrifying. With a 2-year-old, I'm like, I hope things...
Because you and I are making family-friendly content, though we would never click this is made for kids because it's not made for a literal 10-year-old. It's not made for kids.
Truthfully, I don't even know what that button does if you click yes.
Really? Oh, honestly, that is actually just meant for people making content that, like, quite literally you should not... Or, if you select yes, it's made for kids, it's meant for, like, the YouTube Kids app.
And you better make sure it's for kids.
Like, if you click it, comments get turned off.
It
Not
pulls
allowed to
up
comment on those videos.
Nice, okay.
And that's like the whole purpose right there is I made this video and it quite literally is a song about hopping in the tub and showering so that your kids will actually take a shower because you're a parent. And so, which I didn't know at first. I was very curious. Or like right below there, you get is this generated content? Is this altered content?
Yeah.
It's unique ones that they start to pop up and you're like, I don't feel like this has enough information for me to know whether or not I should select it.
I always default to no. All right, so episode number 1, I thought it would be just a good use of our time. Thomas has started making YouTube content around the same time that I started making YouTube content, so about like a month and a half kind of into the process. And I wanted to just kind of pick your brain a little bit on things that you've learned, things that you have kind of picked up on, things maybe you weren't expecting when you started. So let's kind of just like hop into it. Can you tell me a little bit about your channel?
Sure.
And then kind of like what made you kind of want to start doing that?
Yeah. I'll give the cliff notes on this one. So me and a friend, Ben, we're close friends with, we were doing web development and I was just trying to learn how to do it. I had learned how to do it pre-ChatGPT 3 and had done my own, but now was using this new vibe coding, which is just a huge blow up in like the web coding area. Me and my wife were spitballing ideas and we were like, what about a board game review website, which Board Game Geeks already exists. A few other options already exist, but I wanted it to be more lightweight. My inspiration was actually Letterboxd, which is a movie review app that the first page is just movie posters. And so I wanted to do the same thing, lightweight, no blogs, no comments, just games. And as I made that and as I released that, I realized nobody wants to use my app because nobody knows who I am. I'm not a long-standing platform. Yeah. So I needed to start doing social media. So I started a page. And the website is called Board Ranks. It's boardranks.com. I actually was excited about that. I thought that from an SEO perspective was an awesome brand. Like I was shocked that I didn't have to pay large quantities of money for that website. Then I realized the only way to get people long-term on that website was by doing social media. And so, just quick insights that I think have played out very quickly in the last couple weeks is changing from being board ranks on YouTube to being Thomas Hampton on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that, and looking back, maybe not surprised that somebody doesn't care about a business, they care about a person.
Right.
And I was very curious about, can I get board ranks to become popular? Maybe not even use my face. Maybe just be top down, board games on the table, talk about them, hands effectively just there, but no face. Which is like if you ever watched Dream, a Minecraft YouTuber that everybody used to watch, that was no face.
Yeah.
You never knew what Dream looked like until it became a huge thing down the line, and it was like massive.
That was a big deal though, because it was
Right.
kind of like his brand was like this mysterious Minecraft guy that
Yes.
like, you know, nobody really who is this
Who is
master
Dream?
of Minecraft? And then all of a sudden, you know, it was a leak, right?
Yes.
And then
yeah,
after that, it
accidental.
was, you know, kind of a whole different ball game.
Right. So
Yeah, so that's a good secret sauce moment, you know. I think this is kind of my presupposition about social media right now is that if you can shape a narrative around anything in an interesting way, I think you can succeed on social media and you can turn that into a profession. I think that because I have so many, I follow a lot of people, subscribe to a lot of people on YouTube, and a lot of them are pretty strange niche people. There's like an older guy, bookmaker who lives in like a cabin and makes like hand, you know, crafted books. I find it incredibly interesting because of how he records his stuff. It's not like I'm ever going to actually make a book. It's not educational. It's just very interesting to me to watch him do that. So I think if you are thinking about being a creator, the question isn't necessarily like, what am I going to film? It's how am I going to approach the process? What story am I going to tell through my content? And I think you deciding, I'm going to peel the layers back and reveal the face behind the ranks.
It paid immediate dividends, and I should have realized it because honestly, if you're playing the social media game, you have to take high percentage plays. Now, let's be very clear. If you're very passionate about, let's say you're passionate about live action role playing, you know, that sounds to me and you like something that's a niche community.
Yeah.
Maybe you're passionate about it, but if you start making content in that area, it's probably a low percentage play that you're going to make it to a wide enough audience for that to be a full-time career outside of a marginal group of people that may make it. Similarly, a marginal amount of people make it on social media as a business solely or as no face.
Yeah.
Personality is what people want on YouTube. They don't go to YouTube to be part of a business. They want to be part of a person's life, maybe parasocially.
Sometimes a little too far. But I think that's the key. And even with like, if you're going to be a LARPing YouTube channel, you know, the question I would be asking you isn't necessarily like, you know, is this going to be like a full-time job? I would be thinking like, is there a way to be able to take the, you know, the rules or the mentality that you bring into making LARPing YouTube videos, and can you connect that thing with other things that maybe people do connect with?
Right.
So I think maybe we should start a LARP second channel.
Maybe. It's funny because I bring that up in a long form video I'm about to post as like a funny bit. But outside of that, I mean, do we have more time to keep kind of talking on like the things that have surprised me a little bit? And again, early on, I don't want to speak as some expert with, you know, 3 million or subscribers or something like that. But I think I've learned that consistency is key. Yeah. And I should have known that off the bat. I mean, me, you, and Ben have talked plenty of times on just get 100 videos out there. They're you know, Mr. Beast talks specifically about this one, but that means a couple things. It's if you post 100 videos, it means you're probably serious about this thing. If you don't have the willpower to get 100 videos out there, you are not meant to be a content creator. There are people that look at this thing and they say, that is easy. I could do that. Post 100 videos, I promise. Now, this is not my first YouTube channel. I've done that. I have posted 100 videos before. I will gladly do it again in what I think is a larger niche. Prior, it was disc golf. That was a fun channel. I enjoyed it. Not as many people watch disc golf. It's low percentage play versus board games, higher percentage play, but consistency right there. YouTube notices those things. I mean, I've seen views kick up when you schedule a few videos. It'll
Yeah.
take that most recent video or videos. It'll drive some engagement there because they want to test the waters.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit more. So I think the 100 videos concept is useful in multiple ways. So I think what you're saying is exactly right. You know, you have to be able to be disciplined enough to be able to do that. And that's not an easy thing to do. But I think there's also other elements of why that will be beneficial to you.
Yeah.
One, I think it does take YouTube some time to figure out what you're doing. And I've noticed just in like consistently posting about the same things, it's much easier for the algorithm to be able to like take hold of my content and put it into people's screens that will be interested in watching my stuff. I think the first video I had, it was very hard to like, for the algorithm, you know, this mystical being to be able to like figure out like, you know, there's a 5-minute video that this guy just made. I don't know where to put it, you know, or what to do with it. So I think like the algorithm starts to learn what you're doing and you can kind of fuel that for growth. But then also something I've noticed recently, and I would love to hear your perspective on it. I think the 100 video concept is really beneficial personally in developing my style, my voice on YouTube, and kind of like helping me to figure out like what do I actually want to make. I think when you think of 100 videos, everybody would be assuming I want to have this like perfect filming setup, all the right gear, all the right workflows. And when you start video one, you quickly realize I don't have any of those things, and I'm gonna have to be
Yes.
the one responsible.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be the one responsible for figuring all of these details out. And just by being disciplined to do something maybe weekly, I guess bi-weekly, probably just consistency, you know, having a repeatable process. I have learned so much about things that I don't like about my videos.
Yes.
I've learned so many things about what I wish my videos were like, and even like how I interact with the camera. It's just been very eye-opening to me as a creator of figuring out like, you know, what am I doing? What do I want my 100th video to look like?
Right.
And I'm like, video number 10 is just one stepping block to being able to get to a place where I'm making the videos that I want to make. What are your thoughts about all of that?
Yeah, I mean, lots of great questions right here. And you and I have dabbled a little on this topic before. First thing I would say, hitting the initial just consistency aspect from an algorithm perspective, YouTube has no clue what your page is. Everything that you think about your audience and who you want to watch it is up here. YouTube has no clue what that is. You have to keep posting so that YouTube can figure out what you want. You're going to start using tags that are atrocious. I mean, you showed me some tools that I was using last night to try to see, are these good tags? Are these bad tags? Are they filtering to the wrong people? Are they filtering to a niche that might hate my videos when there's another group of people that do?
Yeah.
The more you post, the more YouTube knows who likes your videos. Like you'll see YouTube will flatline for a second sometimes, and it'll randomly pop, you know, a couple views here and there, and you're like, man, I've gotten lost in the algorithm. But YouTube is working a little on the back to find out who is going to see that video, continue to watch that video, engage with that video, and I'm going to test it. I mean, I'm not going to test it with 1,000 people, but I'm going to test it with 20 here and there. They know way more about us than you realize. And so they'll start to find that right audience. And when that moment kicks in, which may be at the 60 video mark, the 80 video mark, honestly, the 150th video. Yeah. But that's where your consistency has to play in and trust in the process and know that it does work out. I don't believe that YouTube is a luck game.
I agree.
And we've talked on this subject plenty of times. The other thing I would say is on this like consistency and figuring out what you want, you learn so much about what content you enjoy. You might say, this idea sounds awesome. You get to filming, and then you're like, I hate filming that.
It's a trash video. I've made trash.
I actually dislike that more than I could have imagined. Or it takes longer than I thought it would. The juice is not worth the squeeze on this video. I'm having to be way more cinematic than I thought I was going to be. I'm having to be way more nuanced with all the thought that goes into a video. Nobody realizes the depth of video creation. The third one, and I like to hit on some of this, is that how consistency helps over time is the little things that you learn. And I've got some notes right here. Is you realize you post a video and you're like, thumbnails matter. So you go and again, let's be very clear. If you're starting YouTube or you're starting making content, do not go out and buy a bunch of crazy gear unless you have way more money than you know what to do with. I think it's going to benefit you long term to learn how to use tools that fit like a budget. Imagine your budget is effectively zero. Maybe go out and buy a couple lights for $20. Maybe go, like I bought a trifold that you recommended me get as a light diffuser.
Yeah, like a science fair board.
Yeah. And it was like $4 at Office Depot, and it did wonders.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got something different currently, but like it worked awesome. I saw the difference for $4. Budget. But free tools online, thumbnails. I use Photopia online. It's kind of like a Photoshop type tool. It's wonderful. It's free. You go, you learn how to use Photoshop, blocky text, red arrows, background removal tools and whatnot for different images that you overlay. Then you realize you need better lighting, so you get the science fair trifold right there alongside some LED lights. And then you realize you need background music, and so you go and you find tools that have royalty-free music where you can tag creators in the description of your video. Make sure you're doing that. It benefits them a lot, and they deserve that credit. Absolutely. And then you realize, okay, now that I've got that background music, the vocals and the music don't mix well, or like for some reason the audio is all on one ear as I'm editing it. So you go on YouTube and you look at DaVinci Resolve tutorials, and then you learn how to like change the EQ mix, change the frequencies. And honestly, every time I make a video, I learn something new.
Nice.
And that's the big thing.
I have a pet peeve. This is gonna be a rant.
I love it.
Most of my YouTube kind of curated stuff sent to me is like cinematic tutorials or beginner YouTuber tips and tricks. And the thing I see all the time that just drives me crazy is there'll be like a dude who's been making videos for 5 years, who's trying to promote you buying like a $5,000 camera and saying like, this is the one camera that will solve all of your problems. You will succeed now that you have this expensive camera. And it drives me crazy because you probably won't know how to use the camera. You're not going to be able to have the tools in your toolbox to be able to just whip out and make a good video. You need to start making videos with your phone for a while so that you learn how to make a video. And when people are just like, I would start a YouTube channel, but I just need like 4 lights, a tripod, a gimbal, a drone, and 2 cameras with lenses. Then I'll be able to start. It's
You're like, no.
Yes, because like Casey Neistat, however many years ago when he started, he was just using
tiny little
horrible quality, and it was good not because of the camera quality, but because of him as a cinematographer and a storyteller. And that's the thing I think people don't appreciate the most when it comes to YouTube content.
You are literally spot on with this. Like, I recommend if you're curious about starting content creation, I say YouTube because that's what I want. But honestly, it's crazy that there are way more platforms now. But YouTube feels like the Kleenex of long form. I mean, it is the Kleenex of long form content, but of content. But honestly, people that are 4 years younger than us, I mean, it's Instagram. People that are 40 years older than us, it's Facebook, but honestly, not entirely. I mean, I'm a little on Facebook, but TikTok especially. But
I'm waiting for the Vine to come back.
If you go back and look at a content creator, I recommend, if you're curious about this, go find your favorite niche content creator. Don't necessarily do a Casey Neistat. Go find your favorite, million and less subscribers.
Find the person that you want to be the most,
and go to their first video on their main channel.
It's gonna be
and
trash.
Start watching it. I mean, they'll have some views because people like you are going back and watching it.
Yeah. And if you're a good creator, if you've made it, you've succeeded, don't hide those, because I think that's such a valuable tool. I think a lot of people, it's like, once I actually do get good gear, my quality video is like nice, I'm going to hide or archive a lot of these trash starter
ones. No, you should
ones.
not.
Yeah, that's part of your story as a YouTube creator.
It's such a gift to people in the future of this is where I was at.
Yeah, I went down a Peter McKinnon deep dive on his vlogs.
Really?
and I watched like the first 15, and I was like, this is doable. His current stuff, not doable. He's very good, but right now, I could probably do his first vlog.
Yes,
and that's
absolutely.
encouraging. It's like if he can do it, 7 years ago, I can do it today, and then who knows what'll happen in 7 years.
Yeah, here's my list right here. We were talking about what should we do to encourage somebody who wants to start making content, and we talked about not spending much money, but a tripod with a phone clip. All right,
Yeah,
you can get one of those for like.
I don't have that.
You
and
don't
I wish
have
I did.
that.
Yeah, I wish I do. That's on my list of things to
Which
buy.
honestly, I mean, you can switch between like your tripod will be good regardless if you do end up getting a DSLR of sorts.
I've had to rubber band my phone to a tripod.
Dude, I literally have a C clamp on my tripod that this camera right here is being filmed on. I have a C clamp on because I lost a piece. I will not spend more money on a tripod.
I get it.
Maybe a cheap LED light that has like tripod type features on it. Video editing software, please just use DaVinci Resolve. Use CapCut on TikTok. CapCut has a desktop app that's actually pretty good.
I looked into that.
Like it's solid. Don't spend money on video editing. The Creative Cloud Suite is minimum $60 a month. $20 if you just get Premiere Pro and Rush, which is free anyway.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you're getting right there, but there's not a Photoshop, Premiere, Duo, Photopia instead of Photoshop, free online tool, Adobe Background Remover for images. You should use ChatGPT if you need help coming up with just like ideas. You should definitely use your own like creative like spice. Allow it to like guide you. Don't read off of it. You can read it in 2 seconds and realize that this is not me. You're not going to succeed if you're letting it do your job. You're just going to sound awful. But there are so many tools available that you can start for almost $0.
Yeah. And speaking of $0, we're going to cut to our sponsors. Today's unofficial sponsor is brought to you by Board Ranks. So Tommy's on the show right now. I haven't told him I'm doing this. And I wanted to just give him a quick shout out. He was a great guest on the show. Very thankful to be able to have him. And I think the best way I could try to plug him or pay back what he's done for me is to just promote his channel. So at Board Ranks, Thomas Hampton, picture of him is the thumbnail. Go check it out. He does great reviews of board games, pretty entertaining content, in my opinion. And I think what I appreciate the most about him is that he is willing to keep trying new things, and he's also willing to implement changes based on feedback. So if you like something he's doing, if you don't like something he's doing, leave a comment, tell him what you like, what you don't. And that would help his channel grow, which is kind of the main goal behind this show. So just do that, and I'll be very thankful. Thanks for watching. Back to the show. Are you bored?
Can I tell you that
You should rank it.
I make fun of AI while I'm creating a prompt. I'll say, you think you're so cool. You think you're just so cool and you're so smart, but you're not.
You're saying that to ChatGPT.
I do that at work sometimes. It's a running joke that people are using AI all the time, and so I'll just make fun of it a little bit before to humble AI.
Yeah, you gotta keep the AI humble.
It doesn't like me.
Welcome back. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about workflow because you're not a full-time creator. You're doing this on the side. Can you kind of explain some of the things that have worked, things that haven't worked, and just changes that you've made through the process to kind of be able to create content more repeatably, quickly, efficiently, and just better?
Yeah, this is a topic that I love. I'm a business analyst by trade. And so, like you said, we both got full-time jobs. Yeah. You've got a full-on family. I'm married, but I don't have kids at this point. But it's good to be conscientious of how much time am I spending on this thing. The thing I think about a lot is, am I talking to my wife too much about making content? What am I doing to make sure that I am both living my life, enjoying my community and my friends, and not letting the social media also be a hindrance to my life? Success on this is not guaranteed. You need to put the work in, but you can't guarantee that it's successful. But in the meantime, how can I be efficient at making it so that I both do live my life, enjoy spending time with my family? So I keep track of how long it takes me to create, the whole brainstorming process, film and edit and post. I mean, if I'm making a short form video in this specific type, it's going to take me an hour and 25 minutes.
For the full
process
nice.
is going to take me an hour and 25 minutes. I mean, that's not exact. I'm learning, but I would recommend keeping track of that time.
That's a good idea.
The idea stuff, I mean, that stuff is just going to come up out of nowhere. You don't have to track that time necessarily, as long as
but
it's not.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes that ideas don't come.
Right.
Really.
And you're like sitting there in the moment and you're like, I have no clue what I want to do. The filming, you should absolutely keep tabs on it. And I go back and forth between, if I've got 3 ideas that I'm ready to film, am I going to film all 3 of them, or am I going to film one, edit that one, and come back, because that filming and editing session for that one is going to teach me something about the next 2 that are going to make them better and worth the extra time. So there is a cost benefit of it. Is it good to, we use this term at work a lot, context switching. Context switching between filming and editing is a lot. I have to move stuff out of the way. I have to take the SD card out. I have to transfer film over and wait for it, do all the editing, and then come back and be like, oh, I got to get back into filming mode.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time that you're spending if you're doing that for each video versus film 3 straight and then edit 3 shorts and schedule them for the next week. I found it worthwhile for the time being. I think if I get better at this over time, I won't need that as much. That's huge. I just say, like, idea prep one day, decide what your overview is going to look like. And for me, it's what board game pieces do I need? It's not just, hey, let's film this board game. It's what actual board game pieces am I showing in my hand in the video? I mean, there are little details that are like, you would never know until you start filming, until I pull out a board game and I'm like, there are so many pieces in this thing. What am I going to show the audience that's like not overwhelming? So workflow, it's just a lot. Keep track of time. I think, and then if I know the time, this is a big one. If I know it takes me an hour and 25 minutes collectively, I need to set aside 4 hours to make short form content. I can tell my wife, hey, like, go spend time with your friends between this time and this time. As long as that works, I'm going to film. I'm going to edit. That's what I'm going to do. And Grace, she's like, oh, perfect. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I'm going to do that so she can live her life. I can live mine. And then we come back and we spend quality time together.
That's good.
And we've communicated about it well, because that's a burden nobody will tell you about social media.
It can consume you.
Yes.
And I think that kind of just kind of relentless, I always want to know my analytics. I feel like I'm always behind, or I'm always needing to improve, can kind of lead into discouragement, feeling of burnout, feeling of just being overwhelmed by what you're doing. So I wanted to kind of break this down into the secret sauce segment of today's episode, where we kind of talk through kind of the mentality that people should approach social media with, and how can we, as new creators who haven't broke big yet, how can we stay focused, stay excited about making content, and just how do we kind of position ourselves in this gigantic ecosystem, and creating like a sustainable and efficient kind of workflow as we do that.
I mean, honestly, I think if you figure out efficiency, you will save yourself heartache. You'll figure out whether or not it's worth your time. Because when you can finally quantify the time that you spend on it, you'll say, I spent 8 hours on film. I spent a whole day out of my week. And then you'll look at your analytics and you'll say, that juice was not worth the squeeze.
Yeah. That was bad sauce.
It was bad sauce. And we want good sauce. Yeah. At the very least, we want average sauce.
Everything is sauce. Some sauce is bad. Some sauce is good.
And we want to talk about all the sauce. You're gonna have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people about sauces that they wish they never implemented.
That's exactly right. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So tell me, Thomas, as you start off on this kind of creative journey through the social mediums, what kind of motivates you to keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I don't think a lot of people think about the motivation. They think that the motivation is the analytics.
Yeah, or the payoff. Once I get monetized, then I've made it.
Like, because if we're rolling into this, if you're rolling into this, you need to have the mindset that nobody's going to watch your video, that you are posting this strictly for self gain. This is, I think my video is funny and it was worth my time to edit this video and maybe watch it with one friend.
Yeah.
If that allows me to feel like I've succeeded, amazing. And so alongside that, like, I think what motivates me is kind of getting a creative itch that I don't get to do during my workday. Again, business analyst, I'm a spreadsheet guy. I code a little bit. I do dashboards all day. Like, and I like analytics. It is creative to me because somebody might say, hey, can you pull me this data? I think it's going to say this. And then it says something that's literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I have been in segments of my life where I was doing something because I thought one thing was naturally the way the data would lie, and it was the opposite. And I was able to switch my workflow around, and I was more efficient because I was hitting whatever data I needed in the right way. I was approaching my time in the right way because it was more efficient at this time of day versus that time of day. I love that. That is creative to me, and to some extent, I like video editing. I mean, I filmed. I got my first DSLR right before my senior year of college, and I went to our campus ministry ultimate frisbee match, and I was running in the field with my camera. I was like running straight through the quality field, and it's on my like personal YouTube channel. I think I might have it private currently, but then I filmed
not for long.
Then I filmed it, yeah, exactly. And then I filmed somebody playing disc golf and did like a cinematic thing, and I was like, oh, this is super fun. I've never gotten to do this, but I enjoy it, and I like being in front of a camera. I like speaking, thus no more board ranks, just hands. Now Thomas, face, voice. That's a creative itch I don't get to do. And the one that I'm really excited about that I want to start doing more is comedy. I love like comedy in general. I think I'm a funny person overall, and I want to incorporate that in my video. So I've got one that I'll post this next week that it's my first go at trying to make like a comedy video of me playing a couple different characters. I've always wanted to do something like that, but now within this board game niche, what are the areas that I can start to scratch that itch? Yeah. And so the motivation really is there are things that I don't get to do in my personal life that I want to be able to do in my personal life. Yeah. And this fits that.
I think it's really helpful. I think it's good to be able to blend like the future goals of like, I want to turn this into a successful business, and I want to be able to do this full time, but then at the same time recognizing that's going to take some time probably, and being able to kind of create present goals that you can accomplish through your content that's fulfilling, I think is a really smart move. I think for me, with my kids, I have a 2-year-old son who really likes watching TV in general. It's an issue that we're trying to work through, but I think being able to create videos, he likes watching his dad on TV. So it's kind of like a fun little family moment for us sometimes, where we can kind of like sit down and watch me being an idiot and trying to talk to a camera, so it kind of, it's figuring out ways like, how can I be building towards something in the future while enjoying it in the present that I think is hard to find sometimes, and being able to do that well, I think is a game changer.
That is a wholesome moment right there, like having your son look at you, and it's maybe a video that you're just, sometimes you edit a video and it sounds really good in the headphones while you're editing it, but you really need to export it and listen to it on your iPhone's like speakers or on your TV. Just what is the average viewer hearing? Yeah, and like, it's both benefiting you, but also benefiting like your family in that moment.
We were talking off camera right before we started recording about how my most recent video, I exported it, thought it was like nice, neat, buttoned up. And then I saw a comment that was like, yeah, this is okay, but like the sound is bad. And I was like, what do you mean the sound is bad? I checked it. I had headphones the whole time I was recording or editing it. And turns out, I don't know what I did, but I did. I basically cut all the audio out of the left channel.
Yep.
No idea. If you know, let me know in the comments. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is really bad. And it was something I didn't realize until after I exported it.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's a tip. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, being able to do that, and there are benefits both to you and to your family in the same moment, and keeping those in mind.
Yeah.
It's nice.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up this first episode. Thomas, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. I'm glad you had
I don't even
me.
know if it really counts as coming on. It hasn't started yet, but thanks for being here, doing this with me. If somebody wants to learn more about you, about board ranks, if they want to start ranking boards as well, how would they find you?
If you're interested in board games, if you've enjoyed my content that you've seen, and maybe that's why you're watching the podcast right here.
Lots of fans.
www.boardranks.com. I would recommend, especially as I'm learning the web development side. One of my biggest problems was people use Board Game Geek all the time. They've left a lot of reviews. Go to the website, sign up, and try the rank flow feature that I've implemented. It's the ability that I'm going to bring board games to you, and you're going to tell me whether or not you've played them. Nice. I would definitely recommend you check that out. It's a feature that I'm excited about, and I'm excited to push that website. Yeah. So honestly, a use of boardranks.com means more to me than a subscription on my YouTube channel or a follow on my TikTok channel.
So they do that. They rank flow for a couple hours, maybe days. They come out of a cave. They've ranked all of the games. If they want to follow along on, or they want to see your funny stuff, they want to see your face on YouTube. What social medias are you at? And then where would they find you?
I'm on YouTube and TikTok, both as Board Ranks, though you might find me as Thomas Hampton, though the actual on the channel is Board Ranks still.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. What was maybe something that was helpful? How ugly are we?
I mean, we're both bald.
That's true. I'm hiding it
you
behind a hat.
It more than I have. I mean, I blame Grace.
I own it.
She would agree with that. She's told me not to shave.
Being bald's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
And so is watching this show. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll maybe see you next time.